Hello, sports fans. My name is Mark Mortier from Yesterday Sports. You're about to jump into another thrilling sports history moment. But first, let's dive into today's sponsor, just in time for the holiday season. Introducing Art of Words, the brainchild of word artist Dan Duffy from Philadelphia. Dan meticulously crafts stunning images by handwriting relevant words from some of the greatest sports moments in time. These unique, budget-friendly illustrations are the perfect gift, sparking cherished memories and capturing hearts. Choose from city skylines, sports, history, and musicians to find a piece for everyone. And here's the exciting part. For that sports fanatic in your life, gift them a piece of their favorite team or player's history. Art of Words tells a compelling story. Explore collegiate stadiums, each meticulously crafted with every football victory etched in words. Or venture into baseball stadiums, handwritten with every player from the team's illustrious history. Don't wait. Order a print today for yourself and your loved ones this holiday season. Transform your wall into a gallery of captivating art and surprise your family and friends with a print of their own. Use code SHN15 at artofwords.com for a 15% discount on your order in November and December. Visit Art of Words, where words magically transform into stunning art, evoking cherished memories and touching the hearts of those you care about. Again, use the code SHN15 for 15% off at artofwords.com.
And we're back for the last part of our MLB preview in an MLB and review 2022 review and 2023 review. We're going to start out with the NL West, and then we're going to go right into the playoffs. So this is going to be really quick, really fast, So here we go. We're going to start with your San Diego Padres. All right, you're my favorite NL West team. They went 89-73 last year, finished in second place, made the playoffs, lost in the NLCS to the Philadelphia Phillies 4-1. They beat the Dodgers 3-1, and they beat the Mets 2-1 as well. Their Pythagorean was 86-76, so they overachieved a little bit. Their runs were 705 runs scored, 660 runs allowed. Their top three players was Manny Machado, Ha-See Kim, and Jake Cronenworth. Your top three pitchers is Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrave, and Blake Snell. All right. What did they do in the offseason? Oh, they just signed Xander Bogaerts, the best player that the Boston Red Sox had. They also got Robert Suarez, Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Matt Carpenter, Nelson Cruz. Jeez. They spent $407.2 million this offseason. Granted, 280 of that was on Xander Bogaerts, but well worth the money. They did lose Sean Manaea, Mike Clevenger, Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, Pierce Johnson, Jurickson Proffer, and Will Myers and Jorge Alfaro. All right. Your starting lineup is looking like this. Behind the dish, Aaron Nola. Over at first base, you got Cronenworth. At second base, you got Ha-See Kim. At short, you got Xander Bogaerts. At third, you got Machado. Out in left, you got Juan Soto. Out in center field, you got Trent Grisham. And in right field, when he comes back, you're going to have Fernando Tatis Jr. You also got Nelson Cruz and Matt Carpenter as your DHs. Man, that team got really good. Then you got Yu Darvish as your day one starter, Joe Musgrove, Blake Snell, Michael Wacha, Nick Martinez. It rounds out your starting five. Your closer is Josh Hader. He's probably the best closer in the game up through July 30th. And then from July 31st to the end of the year, he just implodes some reason. So that's why you got Robert Suarez to help out there. Drew Pomeranz is your other setup guy. Luis Garcia is a setup guy. You got middle relief guys of Steven Wilson, Brent Honeywell Jr., Ray Kerr. You got long guys of Seth Lugo, who could fill in as a closer if he needed, Jay Garoom, and Ryan Weathers. All right. BaseballProspectus.com has them going at 93.3 and 68.7. Definitely think they're a 95-win team. That's for sure. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers, the team that finished in first place last year with a record of 111 and 51. I didn't realize that they were that close to winning 116 games. They lost in the NLDS, though, after coming off a World Series championship, right? They won it in 2021? Or was that 2020? I don't know. Either way, the Dodgers coming off, they lost to the Padres 3-1 in the NLDS. Pythagorean had them at 116 and 46 as they scored 847 runs. That's right, 847 runs is what they scored. The runs allowed was 513. Their top three players was Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Trey Turner. Turner, he gone. Top three pitchers was Julio Urias, Tony Gonsolin, and Tyler Anderson. Anderson, he gone. All right, your major league signings this offseason was Syndergaard, J.D. Martinez, David Peralta, Shelby Miller, Jimmy Nelson. Shelby Miller is still pitching? I feel like that guy's really old, even though I bet you he's not. It just seems that way. They also signed Jason Hayward to a minor league deal as well. And then they lost Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, Tyler Anderson, Craig Kimbrell, Chris Martin, Andrew Heaney, Joey Gallo, Edwin Rios, Tommy Canale, Kevin Pillar, Trevor Bauer, obviously, who's playing over in Japan now, and David Price will not pitch this year. Their starting lineup is looking like this. You got Will Smith behind the dish. And you got Freddie Freeman over at first. You got Yoni Hernandez and Michael Bush playing second. Actually, you know what? Miguel Vargas is who I'm going to say is their second baseman. At shortstop, Miguel Rojas. At third base, we got Max Muncy. Out and left, you got David Peralta. In center field, you got Trace Thompson, Chris Taylor. I mean, it's just going to be a plug-and-play type situation. Chris Taylor's probably going to get the start. You also got Jason Hayward that's able to play there as well. Then out in right field, you got Mookie Betts. And your DH, of course, is going to be J.D. Martinez. Your starting pitchers, day one, is Julio Urias, Tony Gonsolin, Clayton Kershaw, Dustin May, Noah Syndergaard. Your closers, Evan Phillips, Alex Vesia, and Daniel Hudson. They're going with a three-headed monster. Your middle relief is Yency Almonte, Victor Gonzalez, J.P. Miller. Your long guys, and Miller can actually fill in as a starter if you need to as well. Your long guys are going to be Ryan Pipiet, Michael Grove, Gavin Stone. Baseball Prospectus has this team going 94.6 and 67.4. I mean, this is not a 100-win team season at all. I'm saying that these guys win 90 games. I don't think they make 95. I think they win 90. They lost too many good pieces. Didn't really fill it in the backside. Their pitching staff is kind of weak. You got Urias and Gonsolin and Kershaw, but Syndergaard didn't even pitch for the Phillies in the playoffs, really. So, I mean, yeah, I just don't think they have that. They don't have Walker Buehler. That's all I'm saying. Due to being injured. Next up, you got the Arizona Diamondbacks. They went 74 and 88. Their Pythagorean was 77 and 85. They had 702 runs scored, and they allowed 740. Your top three players are Christian Walker, Dalton Varsho, he gone, Josh Rojas. Your top three pitchers are Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and Drew Jameson. All right. What did the Diamondbacks do this year? Oh, yeah, they got rid of a bunch of players. That's what they did. However, they did bring in Andrew Chafin, Scott McGough, Evan Longoria, Zach Davies, and Miguel Castro. but they did lose Varsho, Caleb Smith, Jordan Lupo, Ian Kennedy, Hummel, Sergio Alcantara, Sean Poppin, Taylor Widener, Stone Garrett, Kenyon Middleton, Edwin Uceda, Reyes Moranta, Tyler Holton, Yanni Hernandez, and JB Bukakauskas. Whatever. I don't know what that guy's name. But what you gonna do? I can't pronounce last names. It's a fault. I guess I have. Their day one starters are going to be behind the dish. They're going to go Gabriel Moreno, acquired from the Toronto Blue Jays. At first base, Christian Walker, of course. Second base, Ketel Marte. Shortstop is Nick Ahmed. Third base, you're looking at Evan Longoria now. And left field is you got Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Out in center, you got Corbin Carroll. Out in right, you got Jake McCarthy. And you got your DH of Seth Beer and Pavin Smith. You got a starting five of Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Madison Bumgarner, Zach Davies, and Drew Jameson. You got a closer of Mark. I always pronounce this guy's Melicone, Kevin Ginkel. I don't know why they have two closers in baseballprospectus.com as the depth chart. It's Melicone all day. It's Mark M all day. All right, your setup guy is Joe Mantiply. All right, your middle relief has gotten Kyle Nelson, Miguel Castro, Andrew Chafin. Your long guys are going to be Tommy Henry, Brandon Pfaft, and Blake Watson. All right, the prospectus has them going 75.1 and 86.9. Not in this house, not on this podcast. They're winning 72 games. That's it. All right, next up, you got the Colorado Rockies. All right, they went 68 and 94 last year. Pythagorean had them 65 and 97. 698 runs scored, 873 runs allowed. Top three players are going to be Brendan Rodgers, Ryan McMahon, C.J. Cron. Your top three pitchers is Daniel Bard, Kyle Freeland, and Herman Marquez. All right. You have a starting or you got an opening a lineup of Elias Diaz at behind the dish. You got C.J. Cron at first. At second base, you got Ryan McMahon and Brendan Rodgers. I'm guessing McMahon's going to play second, play third. Brendan Rodgers will play second. Your shortstop is going to be Ezekiel Tovar as your shortstop. Left field, you got Jurickson Proffer. You got in center field, we're going with Jonathan Daza, and in right field you got Chris Bryant. And then your DH is going to be Charlie Blackmon. Your starting five is Yerman Marquez, Kyle Freeland, Antonio Senzatella, Ryan Feltner, and Jose Urena. Your closer is Daniel Bard. Your setup guys are Brent Suter, Justin Lawrence, Brad Hand, Tyler Kenley. Your middle relief guys are Pierce Johnson, Jake Bird, Gavin Hollowell. Your long guys are Austin Gomber and Peter Lambert as well. Baseball Prospectus have them going 64.8 and 97.2. They're a 70-win team season is what they are. All right. That is definitely what. Did we talk about their... Oh, shoot, we didn't talk about who they picked up. All right, key additions was Pierce Johnson, Nick Garcia in a trade, Connor Siebold in a trade, and then their key losses was Connor Joe traded him away, Sam Hilliard traded him away, Jose Iglesias, Alex Colomb, and Chad Kuhl. There you go. Those losses really don't make up for the fact that they're only a 70-win team season. 70-win team anyways, so doesn't really matter. Didn't really help them last year, so I wouldn't call them key losses or additions. So, sorry there, Colorado. Any Colorado fans listening? I just don't have faith in your squad this year. Just saying. You guys still need you guys are in rebuilding mode, just like another half the freaking Major League Baseball, it seems like. It's like, are we ever gonna not be in real? Can we get like more teams not in rebuilding mode? That'd be awesome. Just saying. All right. Next up and last on the team previews is the San Francisco Giants. They went 81-81 last year. Gabe Kapler's their manager. They were 83-7 down with a Pythagorean for their Pythagorean record. They had 716 runs scored and allowed 697. Their top 3 players was Mike Yastrzemski, Thero Estrada, and David Villar. Your top 3 pitchers: Carlos Rodon, gone. Logan Webb, kind of reminds me of Matt Cain, and Alex Cobb. So what did the San Francisco Giants do in this offseason? Oh, well, I mean, they only tied up Jock Peterson for 1 year, for another year. They signed Michael Conforto, Mitch Haniger. They picked up Ross Stripling, Sean Manaea, Taylor Rogers, Luke Jackson. They also got Brett Wisely and Blake Sobel in trades. They almost had Carlos Correa, then a failed physical. The Mets almost had Correa too, failed physical. That's how he ended up back in Minnesota. All right, they're so close to Aaron Judge apparently. I don't think they were. I think they were just rumored that way. But so their key departures was Rodon, Longoria, Brandon Belt, Tommy LaStella, Yunior Marte, and Gregory Santos. So Baseball Prospectus has this team going. Let's start with their, before we get into what Baseball Prospectus says, let's get into their starting lineup. Behind the dish, you got Joey Bart. At first base, we got J.D. Davis. Over at second base, we got Thero Estrada. At shortstop, Brandon Crawford. Over at third base, we got Wilmer Flores. Out in left field, you got Jock Peterson. Michael Conforto as well. I'm guessing, they're going to probably split time in center field. But you also got your Yastrzemski playing center. Out in right, you have Haniger. So my guess is, I'm going to say Peterson and Conforto are going to play left field, and if one of them is not playing left, then they're the DH of the day. Your starting pitchers are going to be Logan Webb, Alex Cobb, Alex Wood, Anthony DeSclafani, Sean Manaea. Your closer is going to be Camilo Duvall. Your setup guys are Tyler Rogers, Scott Alexander, John Barbia. You got Taylor Rogers as a middle relief guy. Then you have Luke Jackson as well as middle relief. Eric Miller, Randy Rodriguez, all middle relief. Your long starter is going to be Ross Stripling, who did well with the Blue Jays last year. Jacob Eunice did well last year until he got hurt in July, and then it was with a hamstring injury, and then it was just all downhill from there for him. I know this because he was on my fantasy team. So Prospectus.com has them going 80.7 and 81.3. Definitely think they're 500 ball club again this year. So there you have it, boys and girls. The baseball preview. So what does that tell us? Where does that lead us? Well, it leads us right to the playoffs. Oh, I didn't tell you who was going to win the divisions, did I? I did not. So let's get to that point. In the AL East, we got the New York Yankees. AL Central, your Minnesota Twins. Your AL West, your Seattle Mariners. In the NL, in the East, it's going to be the Phillies. You got the Central. I'm going off on a limb here. A big win. A big one. A big one. The Chicago Cubs going to win the NL Central. In the NL West, the Padres. All right, now your wild card teams. In the AL, you got Houston. Going to be team number 1. Toronto is going to be number 2, and you got the Angels being the 3. Yeah, that's right. I got 3 teams from the AL West making it this year. I don't think the Guardians make it. That's just my thoughts. Over in the NL, you got the Dodgers. All right. You got the Cardinals. Okay, that's 2. And then you got the Mets. Even though they don't have Edwin Diaz, even though I think that they still are able to do it. So then, that brings me to our bracket on the AL side. All right, your first round matchup is going to be the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim versus Minnesota Twins. That's right. So I have the Twins finishing with the 3rd seeds. The Angels are getting the 6th. All right. I think the Angels end up winning it 2 games to 1. Okay. Then that means they'll play the New York Yankees. So the ALDS is set on that side. The other side, we got the other wild card matchup. We got Toronto and Houston. I have Toronto winning it 2 games to 1, which pits Toronto and Seattle against each other in the other ALDS. I got the Yankees, Angels, Yankees winning it. Okay? Toronto, Seattle, Seattle wins it. ALCS, Yankees, Mariners. Okay? Sorry, Yankees fans. I just don't think you guys are able to get over that hump just yet. It's going to come once you get all your guys' prospects up there. Just not yet. Seattle wins it. Seattle goes to the World Series. Okay? And the NL. We got in the first matchup, you have the Cubs, Cards. Okay? Cubs are the 3 seed. Cards are the 6 seed. Because that's how crappy the NL Central is. Over on the other side, you get the Dodgers, Mets. All right? The 2 teams with byes are the Padres and the Phillies. I got the Padres number 1 seed, Phillies number 2. All right? So, Cubs beat the Cardinals. They face the Padres. Dodgers over the Mets. They face the Phillies. Phillies over Dodgers. Padres over Cubs in a sweep. The Padres get their revenge on the Phillies this year, and the Padres make the World Series. Okay, now let's have a little breakdown here. Who has the best starting pitcher? Starting pitching between the 2 teams, Seattle and San Diego? Seattle. Who has the better relief pitchers? The Padres. I gave the nod at catcher to Seattle, first base to Seattle, second base to Seattle. But this is where the Padres just start taking over. Third base, better. Shortstop, better. Left field, better. Center field, Mariners. Right field with Tatis, you're looking at the Padres. And at DH, we're going Padres. So Seattle has the starters to beat San Diego. But San Diego has the pop. San Diego has the deeper bullpen. San Diego is going to be your 2023 World Series champions. Picking up Tatis midway through the year is going to be, or 2 months into the year is going to be great, and it's going to be a revenge tour for Tatis Jr. So, and that lineup with Soto, Machado, and Tatis Jr., oh my gosh. You got Darvish. Padres, Mariners, World Series, with the Padres winning it. And there you have it. Part 3 is done. I didn't mean to go into 3 parts, but we had to, because obviously this is a lot of time, effort, and consumption for you all to get through. So I hope you continue to get through to get to this point, so that way you can at me on Twitter. You can at me on TikTok to tell me how wrong I am. That's fine. Come find me. You all know where I'm at. Right here. I'm on the bird. Okay? So, thanks for everybody for listening. Thanks for taking the time for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you, especially for how long this was and taking the time to listen to all about it. Hope it was entertaining, informative. Hope you guys can make your own decisions off it. I used baseballprospectus.com and baseballreference.com as my 2 reference points for my websites, obviously. Still trying to get that partnership with baseballreference.com. Just saying. All right. Probably be back here next week. Got to do that part 3 on the Negro Leagues. So come back for that. And we're going to have a fun baseball season. And so I look to have you listen to all of it and have you guys bring some insight and chat it up. So on that note, one guy with the mic is out of here. So, but before I go and before you go, I need you to hit the bell. Okay? That's going to send you a notification when we have a new episode. I need you to hit the follow button so that way it pops up in the follow list. And make sure to download this episode wherever you are listening to all your podcast needs as well, because that's how we get credit for podcasts is off the downloads. All right. And on that note, I'm out.
Hey there, Sports History fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I wanted to thank you for stopping by to listen to another episode here on the Sports History Network. Our podcasters are passionate about uncovering and sharing sports stories from yesteryear. And if you didn't know it already, we have over 30 shows across the network covering all sorts of sports history topics. In fact, here's a glimpse into one of our awesome podcasts here on the network.
The Pigskin Tales podcast is all about the lesser-known pro football players. Yes, there are stories about the ones we know, like Brad Tarkenton and Harold Red Grange. But have you ever heard of Ernie Nevers? How about Dave Osborne or even Grady Alderman? These men created their own path to the NFL. How did they do it? Listen to the Pigskin Tales podcast, now streaming on your favorite music platform. Go to pigskintales.com.
How about that? I bet you're super hyped to go listen to that new podcast, right? Well, to learn about this show and all the other podcasts on the network, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/podcast. Again, that's sportshistorynetwork.com/podcast. Head over there today to find your next favorite sports history podcast.